time for a little bit more headless chemistry. I'm going to give you guys a little less instruction this time because I think you know how to do this by now. So what I did was I took one of my vials of bovine serum albumin and I put in 4 milliliters of water using my pipette, and I shook it a little over much because notice I have a nice froth on top, so I did denature some of my protein. Shame on me. But trying to get it into solution was not that easy. And I decided, all things considered, it was just easier to do a serial dilution of my protein in a series of cuvettes. So in front here, I've got the cuvettes I used for my serial dilution of the protein. I just did 50-50 serial dilution like we did last time. And then in the back, I have cuvettes prepped with Bradford reagent. So that's 1 ml of Bradford reagent and 1 ml of distilled water in each one, ready to go. I also have 1 cuvette just full of water because I'm going to need that for my spectrometer. So the way you initiate this is you crank your pipette all the way down to 0.1. Yeah, it takes a while to get down there. And I'm going to change tips here. Now I'm going to start with my most dilute concentration of protein because I don't want to have to change my tip each time. I had to change tips each time when I was doing the serial dilution, and I don't want to waste a lot of tips. So I'm going to start with my most dilute protein and go from there into my Bradford reagent cuvette. And then when I go to the next one, it doesn't matter if there's a little bit left in this pipette because it's the more dilute solution. So this is my most dilute protein. I'm going to take 0.1 mils of that. Don't want to trust that first tranche. There we go. Now I'm going to go up to my next one, take 100 microliters and put that in there. Go to my next one, 100 microliters, and put it in there. 100 microliters of my next concentration in there, and 100 microliters of my top concentration there. And then these all need to be mixed properly. I should be using a little square of parafilm, or perhaps the lids that come with the cuvettes in the kit. And not my bare hands, but I'm not really doing this. I'm just trying to show you how to do it. So there I have a nice concentration curve of my first samples to put into my spectrometer and measure the absorbance. Now, if you're using the absorbance versus concentration feature on the Spectral Viz thing, it assumes you're measuring concentration in moles per liter. And we're going to have concentration in grams per liter, so you'll want to change that concentration setting. And usually with Bradford reagent, people measure 595 nanometers, but just like the guy does in the video, you can choose what wavelength you want. All right, I think that's probably enough for you to be going on with. If you don't have 4 or 5 concentrations with absorbance values less than 1, you're probably going to want to try a couple more protein concentrations. So maybe more dilutions or something more concentrated. So you want to get at least 3 or 4 that have a nice linear relationship on the graph.